Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to open my beverage, put a little caffeine in it. Nothing like caffeine and sugar to get your morning going, right? Well, I mean, it's better than what I used to use to get my morning going for sure. I guess there's harm, what do they call that? Harm reduction is what you call that. That's kind of a cop out, but anyway. All right, guys. Well, no one's here, so I'm going to figure that we need to go over to Discord and get everybody. So let me go over and tell the guys in Discord where we're at. I forgot to publish it in Discord prior to going online, but I have some exciting news this morning. I stayed up late again, but this time I did something for you guys instead of some crazy back test that I like the back test. I'm on to something really sharp on these back tests, but I know you guys are more practical in a lot of ways and just want to know which funds to buy. So gosh darn it. What happened to Discord? I was just in there. Come on. Sorry about this. Hopefully it'll give people a chance to get here. Hmm. Maybe I should restart the stream. I see there's three of you here. I can see that. So anyway, I won't restart the stream. I mean, I guess people know where it is. Three is about half the people we have every day anyway. So that's wonderful. I'm happy with three. But I just don't like talking to zero. I don't know what the computer is doing, but I have really exciting stuff to show you guys in the MaxFactor. You always say Elon always comes out and talks about version 3 of Grok and version 4 is better. Well, this is version 4 of MaxFactor. Well, no, this is more like version 3. I'm not totally happy with this, but I think you guys will be a lot more happy with it. There'll probably be a subsequent version that comes out that is more apples to apples. Gosh darn it. I just freaking stretched and I pulled a muscle in my butt. That's freaking, that's the, that's why it's great being 50, 58. I can't believe I'm going to be 59 in a few days or in October. All right. I don't know what the hell's going on. Well, there's Marcus. Hey, and we have a new person here. I was going to start it over, but I always love Dane Quesadillas. I love new people. So anyway, thank you for being here, Dane Quesadillas. Thank you for being here, Marcus. You yield chasers, and I'm not saying that you're a yield chaser, Marcus. I don't even know who you are, Dane Quesadillas, but good morning. Yield chasers are going to love the new MaxFactor. In fact, let's just go right there. I'm so excited about this. I stayed up late working on this, but the bad news is it pulls more data from the web scraping, so it makes it even slower and stuff. I'm gonna find a way to trim this thing down this weekend, or to make it more efficient. Now, where is the darn window? It's right here. High yield technical analysis. Okay, so here's all I did, and I was so proud of myself. Because I wrote a logic function. It looks at, but anyway, you guys don't care about logic functions, but I'm just. I remember when I didn't even used to know how to do a logic function. I have to call Corey up whenever I had hard a hard question on spreadsheets. But now I've learned a bunch of tricks. I'd still like to talk to Corey. Corey, if you're listening, give me a call because I'd like to show Corey what I've learned how to do. Anyway, all right. So from left to right, We'll start with Alti since I like Alti. Okay, so it's $6.35. Trailing 12-month dividend is $7.42. That comes out to 116% yield. Had Alti not been a year old yet, like NVDW, not a year old, it's paid $7 on 51, which would be 15%. But NVDW is not a 15% payer because it's paid that much in like 3 months, right? Well, it's been around since February 19th. Well, the algorithm knows that it's been around since February 19th. It knows that it's going to, you go at this pace for a year, it's a 35% payer. So I've normalized for pay. It doesn't matter if came out. It still has to be in here a quarter, but it can crunch the numbers on a quarter's data. Um, but I have to guess at the beta. I need to get I need to figure out a way to find a shorter term measure of beta, or maybe I could. God darn it, what is going on? I think maybe I slept wrong, but every time I move, gosh, I need to freaking. I guess I need to. I think I need to get out of the freaking back testing chair. I don't think I took Jax on the WAOK yesterday or the day before. I think I probably need to get my life a little bit more in balance. I've just sat here in this chair for 3 hours straight. I mean, for multiple hours, 6, 7, 8 hours a night, and sure enough, my butt's sore. So go figure. Or when I move, it feels like I have a pulled muscle back here. All right, well, maybe I need to stretch before I back test. That's stretch before back test. That's what it is. But yeah, I'm sitting in this chair too much. That's why I went out there to the living room yesterday, because the couch is softer. So maybe I'll go out there today in a little while. All right. But anyway, I'm really proud about this. So this now, for one thing, even if I didn't factor it in, I do like to remember I used to go over here and just figure it in my head real quick. Now I don't have to do that anymore. And we could even sort it by yield. Not that you would want to do that, but because you get all the doggy stocks at the top. Well, I mean, fiat's a dog. It's not a dog because it's a dog. It's a dog. It's not a dog because it's bad. It's a dog because the market's going up. It's a dog because it's inverse Coinbase. It would be the greatest stock in the world here in 6 months if during crypto winter. So it's a dog right now for sure. Then we have TSYY, not a dog, not a dog at all. Now TSYY been out 9 months, or not 9 months. Been out, well, yeah, been out 8 months. Cost $9, or it's $9 now, and its trailing 12-month dividend is $9. So that's paying, and it's only been out 9 months, so you have to add another 60% to it anyway, and you get about 167%. It's paid about 100%, but there's still a third of a year left, right? So the algorithm knows all that. Anyway, I'm real excited about all this stuff. Now, these aren't going to make the list probably because we also want momentum, right? And TSYY is 4.6% under its 20-day. It's under its, because of e-launch problems. Not that it can't jump back up on the list, but we're going to want to see yield, momentum, safety. We want the entire picture, right? So anyway, okay, let's just look really fast. This is the first inaugural top 10 list. Let's run the old top 10 list and see what we got. Oh, look at that. Coney's number one, and look at number 2, ULTY. Now, you got to love that. You got to love that. I love that. I love that. But now I'm thinking that maybe this index is focused a little too much on yield. So there might be a version 4 coming but anyway, for now, I mean, these are good fun. I mean, Coney's a good fund. I mean, ULTY, let's see if ULTY qualifies. I mean, it's 117% qualifies. It's 0.7% above its 20-day. So it is trending upwards, and above its 50-day, it's 1.7% above its 50. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, that's fine. I forget what this one. Oh, that's just the average of those two numbers. All right. Well, anyway, but then you look over here at the Holy Grail factor. It's 10% without factoring in NAV, so that's something to know also. So, I mean that's a good sign. Now, on the other hand, Coney's ahead of it because it's 36% before factoring in NAV just for the quarter. But anyway, okay, so Alti's good. You guys asked for it. I mean, then NVDY. I mean, come on, NVDY is a bomb. I mean, look at this. It's paid out $12 out of 17, and it's been around a year, right? Yeah, more than a year. It's paying about 66%. Look at this, 6% above its moving average, and 9.5% above its other moving average. But it gets penalized a little bit for its average true range because it's way above its moving average, but it moves at 1.8% a day. So that's not as impressive as if another less volatile fund would be that far above its moving average. Anyway, the algorithm knows all that, and I still think it's an apples to apples comparison. But I'll probably still work on this a little bit. But anyway, NVDY is a good one. Now, I have no argument with NVDY. Come on, Carvani's a monster. I mean, AMDY. Now I have an issue with that. Come on, AMDY sucks. I hate AMDY. Gosh darn it. You got to be kidding me, AMDY. But anyway, it earned it. I mean, it's trading for $8. It earned about $6 in dividends. It's been out a year. That's about 68%, 6.4% above one moving average, 11% above another moving average. And it has a gigantic average true range, more than NVDY's. It has a 3% average true range. The past 20 days it does anyway. All right, well, that's enough for the MaxFactor. I'm just glad I'm sharing the screen, so you guys got to see that. Do you guys like that? Is that better? Hey Dan, how are you doing? We're going to talk, and speaking of, we're going to talk about blocks and LFGY, and there's another crypto one. Marcus, put the ticker in there if you think of it. There's one that you just showed me the other day, and who is it? It may not be 3 months old and on the MaxFactor, but there's another one that's like an LFGY or a blocks. Maybe it's from Simplify, and it's there. Anyway, if you guys know which one that one is, but we're going to be talking about that this morning. But let's get on to the market news, and then we'll talk about high yield stuff. So we're definitely going to talk about blocks and LFGY. All right, so on the daily chart, I put a couple of buy the dip zones in here, just where it's low volume node, and I think that there's probably liquidity around 620, 619. If it gets down there, second level buy the dip is 614. Just because there are places in the distribution that need to be filled in. That doesn't mean it'll go there, but it's plus there are pullback spots, and they're in gap. They're also close to gaps, or you could also use these open gaps. So, all right, ES is this kind of a boring day. Sell in May and go away. Sell in May and go snort a bunch of yay. That's what we used to say. I mean, not. I know it's stupid, but that's what they do. That's what the traders in New York do. They sell in May and go snort a bunch of. They go to the Hamptons. They freaking spend the summer in a big pile of cocaine and a big pile of naked women. You gotta freaking love it. The funny thing was last year when I got invited to the Yield Max thing, I was in my mind. I know about Wall Street guys, and so I was thinking, man, these guys are probably going to show us a really good. These guys are wild as crazy as hell probably when we meet them. But no, they weren't, and it could have been because their bosses told them, "Hey, don't be crazy with the influencers." That's probably what it was. But I heard they did get pretty crazy this year. But I don't know. I wasn't there, so. But no. But I was imagining the guys would be preppy douchebags from Yale with their collars turned up and stuff, and it couldn't have been more opposite. They're just regular guys, just like us. That's. I was because of the Wall Street reputation you see on the TV and stuff, but no, they're just regular guys. So anyway, it was kind of funny. I really liked. There's a guy named Josh that was our host last year. He's such a good guy. Mike Venuto's all those guys are really good guys and hard workers. All right. Anyway, nothing's going on in the market, so that's why I like to tell stories when things aren't going on. I mean, look at this though. Okay, other than Bitcoin. So there's a dip buy in Bitcoin. I never take them. I never, even when it goes there, I mean, I never do it. I'm good at spotting it, but I need to actually do one. Anyway, all right. Well, I do have a Netflix trade on, and I haven't seen what's Netflix doing this morning. It's just a little broken wing butterfly, but let's look at option strat. We haven't looked at option strat in a while. Let's see. All right, let's look at option strat. All right, TSM. They're. I'm trying to see if there's any of these other ones. This $1 million baby hedge for next year is not going very well, is it? It's down $24,000. You guys see how the slope on this line is different than the slope on so the slope on that line offsets stock 100%. This was 100% buffer fund that I showed you guys that you could have done to your own account If we go out a year, this goes out till December, but we did this December of last year. But anyway, the reason it slopes less here is because you only get half upside with this strategy. And so if you combine it with stock, but you can't, there's no stock on SPX. You can't hit add stock because they don't have SPX stock. But you can do, you guys, Tasty Traders know this, you can use SPX against SPY at Tasty Trade. In fact, it's a great thing to do. But anyway, and I think this hedged, it hedged 1.1 million. No, it didn't hedge that much. Well, yeah, it actually did hedge that much because that's how much it has to offset if it drops to zero. That's exactly how much it hedged because that would, because the max, yeah, because so it's 1.19 million. Anyway, but I'd be mad I did it right now because I'd only be up, the market's up 4.7% from where I did it, and I'm only up, and I'll be up like 2%. Anyway, I love those kinds of trades. I know you guys do. There's people in our Discord that do those types of trades, buffers, callers. So here's an anonymous person in our Discord that did the same trade, similar trade, but has stock, and they're getting half upside. But they didn't really have any downside exposure. If that would have turned into a 2008 situation, they've been fine. They'd been even for the year, and all the rest of us that didn't hedge would have been, well, if it turned into 2008, my gosh, it dropped 50% before it started bouncing, and it took, it was a mess. Anyway, hopefully we won't have that again, but you can alleviate that with these types of strategies. You have to sacrifice something because there's no free money. In this case, it's just half the upside. But that's not the worst thing. I mean, think if you're wrong in the SPY, and let's say you're wrong, and oh my gosh, the Qs are up 34% like they were in 2024. Okay, well, you still made 17%. You were wrong, but I mean, I like those odds I like that. Anyway, all right, I'll stop ranting. Let's look at some stuff. Let's look at the buffer report, and I'll take questions. And then we're going to talk about, then we'll talk about whatever you guys want to after I get through with LFGY and blocks. You guys, this is a morning poll. Put in there if you had to put all your money in any one crypto fund, and it had to be LFGY or blocks. Or no, if you had to put all your money in one DeFi investment, it could be Misty, it could be whatever, but you have to put all of your money in it. That's not realistic. You have to put a tenth of your money. You have to put 10% of your retirement in it. You have a $500,000 retirement. You have to put 50,000 in it today, and you have to leave it in there for a year. What would it be? Would it be blocks? Would it be LFGY? Would it be Misty? Would it be Coney? And I would put in 10 of them and mix them together, but it can't be 10 of them. It has to be any one of them. All right. So we'll do that for a poll. Anyway, all right. What's moving in Yield Max land? Well, Coney looks good. Now, I just like the ones that are outperforming the parent. Look at OARC. That's wonderful. XOMO, that'd be great if I could somehow figure the average daily buffer and find the ones that had less, find the ones that were consistently closer to the parent. We know they aren't going to beat the parent. Not consistently. They can, here and there, but APLY is outperforming today. Look at JPMO beating its parent today, pulling the Menendez brothers. Murney pulling the Menendez brothers. I'm also remembering the plate of nachos I had about midnight because I was hungry. So between the plate of nachos and sitting on my butt all day and pulling a freaking muscle in my butt, I need to get outside and more. All right. Well, let's look at the index buffer report. Oh, geez. I know it's feeding 5E right here, right? It's got to be. Yeah, feeding 5E. So that's fine. What's down the most? I mean, I guess it's T-SPY. Maybe it probably paid a dividend or something. T-SPY's a good one. All right. Well, look at LFGY. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go, y'all, is what that sound stands for. Then we have SEPI, YQQ, YMAX, YMAG looking good, ULTY looking good and beating the parent. ULTY is basically a DeFi fund. I mean, they have a lot of DeFi in there, but don't they? I mean, they have considerable amounts of DeFi. They have other stuff too. Um, Look at old TLTW coming up in the world. IMWY. We don't talk about that one much. All right, let's look really quick here at. Well, let's look at the morning poll. Hey Thomas, thanks for being here. Yeah, IBIT, that's a good one. I didn't think about IBIT because you don't have any leverage. You can sell options on it. Yeah, that's. I mean, I didn't think about selling options on it. Obviously, for trading, yes, I bid for sure. Anyway, but it's fine. Some people don't like to sell options, but Thomas does. I think I do too, and that's a good one. That's super liquid. That's the. I guess that's the spy of DeFi, the DeFi spy. It's as close as they have. I read the other day that thing brought in 80 billion. I thought that JEPQ and JEPI were big. I think they're 20 and 30 billion. But I thought I read that IBIT brought 80 billion to the plate. It doesn't surprise me because they don't sell covered calls. JEPQ is a little bit more of a specialty, but it's one of the most successful funds as far as bringing money to the plate fast. In fact, they said in the article I was reading, they said the only one that was faster was VU. I don't remember when VU was released, but I know VU's a good one. Anyway, all right. So let's see what we have here. We have MSII. Yeah, is a new Mister. So that's a good one. I don't know much about it. Dan KCD is going to tell us. They cover half the fund. The other half shoots for 1.5% leverage. Okay, yeah, perfect. I like that. They sell options on 1.5%, or they sell options on half the fund, and they're using that. That's wonderful. All right, MST. Yeah, that's a good one. MSTY would be tough to beat. It has been lately for sure. And IBIT. I'm going to talk about LFGY and or blocks in a second, but let's go look and see where's Misty on the list. Did Misty still not make the list? I mean, I forget. Did I? Misty has been having problems lately compared to some of the other ones, so I'm fine with it not being at the top of the list. But IDevo cannot be ahead of Misty. That's not what I was trying to get. I'm trying to get a good balance, but I no disrespect to IDevo, but. All right, where is Misty? Is Misty still not on the darn list? I think maybe I screwed up Misty last night and switched its. Misty must have. I need to build a search function into this thing. There it is. Okay, Misty's 10th. Okay, well let's just look at the raw data for it. So it's trading at $22. It's paid $27 worth of dividends. It's 121% yield. It would be better to figure it out just the 3-month recent average yield than the trailing 12-month. That is a weakness in the system. I mean, the trailing 12-month is what it is, but gosh darn it, I can't cross my legs that way anymore because it hurts my. Gosh darn it, and now I spilled my freaking Coke. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Misty, so 121%. It's 4.9% above one moving average and 1.4% above another moving average, but that's not that much because it moves 2.9% a day. So just being, it's just 2 days above its moving average. It's not impressive as some of the other ones on an apples to apples comparison. So yeah, I think I'm fine with it being number 10. Coney, Alti, NVIDIA, Carvani, AMD, PLTW, and VDW, QDTE is a good one. Misty. Okay. AIPI, I know you guys like that. SMC, YOR, FEPI, Palti, Clip. Clip is all right. I mean, that's fine if Misty's ahead of Clip. I mean, but yesterday Clip was ahead of Misty. And that's not going to work. I mean, it's not showing what I want to show, I don't guess, because I'm trying to find the best high yield fund. So anyway, all right, let's talk. I want to look really quick at FinViz. I mean, we don't know that much. Does anyone in here own blocks yet? It's too. I mean, I'm just going to look at maybe their positions. Oh, and I have the Alti positions too. I wanted to talk about the Alti option trades if we have time. If you guys want to talk about that, I have a new piece of technology that pulls the Alti positions, how much stock they have, the options and the stocks, and then I'm going to have AI graph this every morning, and then just like we used to. Remember the Altiverse, and we can see how much they have, 7.11% in cash, and we can check out their position. So I was saying just a second ago, I know I'm weaving a lot this morning, but I was saying just a second ago that ULTY is a DeFi fund, a crypto fund, basically. Let's see how close that is. It does have Coinbase, and it does have Robinhood, and it does have Mara, and it does have MicroStrategies. I don't know if Oklo, it might be related, but it has some other stuff in there too. So anyway, it looks like it's about a third crypto. All right, so weaving back over to the block situation. Let's just take a look. BLOX. I have a spreadsheet with their positions on it, but it was from day one, and they've probably changed. We'll just check it out here. It'll show you the top 10 holdings. Boy, that's looking good, right? I mean, not much to see here yet, but oh yeah, okay. Keep forgetting they. Okay, I remember they have this one. They have HODL, and they no options against it. It's just long, I think. But then they have other ones that are encumbered by options. But man, these are good. So they have Robinhood, Mara, Coinbase. Do they not have MicroStrategy? Yeah, they do. They only have 5% of strategy. Okay, so that's what you get with blocks. You get that, plus you get the lightning spread, and I am excited about the lightning spread. We're going to look at the lightning spread really quick in just a second. Just really quick. I'm going to run a back test. It'll take 2 seconds. We'll look at it for the past year. It won't be boring. It'll just be really fast. But I'll show you. But I'm going to show you a reservation I have about it. All right. Well, it's hard to tell because they're on different scales. But I mean, all right. So this has 15% Coinbase and it has 10% MicroStrategies. Well, I mean, the other one is less levered to MicroStrategies. So I'm not so sure about Michael Saylor. I might be more comfortable with the 5% of MicroStrategies than 10%, just if I'm trying to pick between the two. But I don't know. Clean Spark, so this one has been out half a year and paid 31%, so it's going to pay 60%. The other one's been out a month and paid 1.2%. I don't know. It's a toss up. It's a toss up. It is a toss up. Let's look at Hood for the last year. So here's shares, and we're gonna sell we're selling at the money option, put in this case, or yeah, put in this case. I'll bring in some revenue, but then we're gonna buy an out of the money option. So something, if you want to test it at home, it's something like that. It's selling a 50 delta put and buying a 40 delta. Um, let's just look at it over the past year. What I'm trying to get at on this is when I've tested this before, it tests just about like any other covered call strategy, which is great. Covered call strategies are great, but it hasn't. At first I thought I saw something special, but then the specialness is worn off. But so, I mean, in other words, I would have given blocks extra credit for that. Right. As what I know right now, I'm just going to have to look at blocks a little bit more. But so the strategy protects your capital. You had a 16% drawdown. So you left a third. You left 2/3 of the money on the table, and that's pretty standard with covered call strategies. Let's do it. Let's put this fund in. Let's put this fund in ULTY and see what would happen to it. So we're gonna in ULTY we're gonna have stock, and we're gonna sell call, and they're gonna sell an out of the money call. So we'll go 40, but then we're going to buy a put, and 40 is probably good on that too. Go out 20. They don't really go out 20 days either. But anyway, just for an apples to apples comparison, let's see which one does better. So buying the stock, selling it out of the money call, and buying it. Okay, yeah. Let's see how that one does. Well, just in this test, obviously the caller did a lot better job protecting capital. You have to give this to ULTY. Now I'm not using the right strikes and stuff, but you could see, 3.9% drawdown's pretty dang impressive, right? But here's where you pay for that. The market, you just invest in the market or just invest in HUD, you would have made $26,000. Doing this way, you made income, but your total return was only 19%, and they were up 317%. Let's try that on another stock. Let's look at MicroStrategies. So here is the ULTY method, the ULTY method. This is a caller. And this is also only a year. So, I mean, okay, this one's had a split. So when a split messes up the strikes and stuff. I'm trying to choose funds that are actually in both funds. So I'm trying to choose crypto, but just for the sake of argument, let's try it on NVIDIA because they have liquid options. I don't think they've split in the last year. So here's NVIDIA with the ULTY method. Okay. ULTY does a great job. I mean, their method does a pretty good job of protecting capital. Let's look at, and I know I'm supposed to be comparing LFGY to blocks, not really ULTY, but we can put LFGY's trades in here too. So let's go put the LFGY trade in here too. So what LFGY is going to do, they're going to own stock. They're going to sell a call out of the money, and then they're going to turn around and buy a call further out of the money to uncap upside. So this is the LFGY's method on NVIDIA. Then we'll go back and look at now that looks pretty dang good. Look at this, outperformed. You made an income and it outperformed. That's pretty good. 40 instead of 27%. Protected capital, took off about half your downside, and that was through 2022. Just think about that. Owning NVIDIA. This is basically NVDY. I mean, assuming I have the strikes right. I mean, this is MD. Let's see how much NVDY is up this year. Let's see if it's up 40% like this. We'll see how close it is. We'll see how close I have the strikes. Also, these guys manage. They get extra alpha. Hopefully, LFGY, and we'll compare that with ULTY since we're talking about it. I think it's good to compare those two together. And we're going to go to July 16, 2024. The back tester doesn't figure in the dividend also, but just the, darn it, I can't even, I got something jacked up. July. Was one of them not around? I guess LFGY wasn't around that long ago. We'll just do LFGY and Misty just to have something to look at. Boy, that's in the last year. That's something else. All right, so I'm going to say buy Misty. I don't know. I'm going to say it's a toss-up, but my point to that whole thing was, okay, let's look at NVIDIA with the yield max strategy. Then we're going to look at just for comparison purposes, we're going to look at what we think is the other strategy for blocks, the lightning spread, 1540. Okay. What I'm trying to say is the initial testing on it hasn't been stellar, but this looks fine. So it also depends on the company. NVIDIA is On NVIDIA, either one would have worked. Actually the other method protected capital a little bit more, 17 instead of 20%, but they're comparable. Let's run them both on one more, just because I like to do this kind. Let's run them both on one more underline. Palantir. Let's run. So this is the lightning spread on Palantir. Well, that looks good, but you left a ton of money on the table, guarantee you. Yep. You know, I always say this, but this is why I caution people that are younger, because you just want Palti. Not that some of these can't outperform sometime and stuff, but I mean, anyway, in this case, let's just say, and this has uncapped upside and stuff, or no, this doesn't. This one's the lightning spread, but this did a good job of protecting downside. Like you only got a fourth of the downside, and that's fine for a lot of older folks like me are fine with fourth of downside and part of Palti's upside. I mean, that's fine. It's still made 98%. It's still doubled your money in the past year. All right, but now let's put in that's the lightning spread. Now we're going to put in the other one. Let's put in the yield max strategy. And go a little bit further out of the money, and then they both buy the 40 delta put. Yield max though, yield max only goes out a week. Those are 20 days. The week results would have been a lot better. I'm not going to go back and redo them, but okay. So, but now look at this. Yeah, the week results. You bring in more yield if we wanted to look at that, but you've captured upside to a greater degree. Now you've only made 2,000 out of 60,000. So it's so that is the yield max method. Let's go look and see if the lightning spread does any better. So they're just going to sell a put, and at the money put, and then buy a few strikes out of the money, and we'll do it in the weekly time frame to have an apples to apples comparison. Okay, so this is a victory for the light. Okay, so now I'm going to switch. I say blocks. Get blocks. Blocks is my recommendation. I mean, it's new with caveats. Talk to your planner. But you left a lot of money on the table. But this is the lightning spread. It looks like it's maybe going to outperform the other method. So it probably depends on. It's probably a stock by stock basis. All right, that's it for the back testing. Thank you for sitting through that, guys. There's still 9 of you here. That's wonderful. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys are probably making comments on it today. Yeah, 74 billion. You know me, I think in round numbers. 80 was the number I had in my head, so at least I was close. But yeah, 74 billion. That's really, the article wasn't talking about the amount under management. The article was talking about how fast it got to that point also. But it's a large amount as well. Great info, Thomas. I appreciate it. Blocks is blocking today. Blocks is blocking. I have several covered call funds, but interest in blocks have several securities in it, not just, and of course, LFGY has several securities in it too. They're probably about the same, honestly. Selling premium. I mean, one selling an out of the money call, one selling an at the money put. Well, selling an at the money put is the same thing as owning stock and selling an at the money covered call. So the only difference is one's going out of the money, one's selling at the money, but they're both their income drivers the same, coming from the same thing. So, put spreads. They're doing put spreads exactly like Misty, and it's doing put spreads. Blocks has several securities. Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to say blocks. Out of what we saw today, because I did notice the lightning spread allowed for a little bit more upside. It looked like just in the couple we measured. Hey, Mark, how are you doing? It's hard not to own blocks. Yeah, it's up 2.5% this morning and 17% this month. It's impressive. So is LFGY. Don't sleep on my LFGY, though, right? Let's look. There was something I want to show you guys the Alti trades too before we go. LFGY, and it's a small sample size, but I mean, LFGY was down less in that little micro pullback. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. Pretty soon, blocks will be in the pretty soon blocks will be in the MaxFactor. Now that the MaxFactor's formulated better or different. Coney, Alti, NVDY, Carvani. I think I may have gone too far the other direction now looking at the list, though. What I envision the list having on it is ones that are like QDTE. That's a good one. And that's a good all around one. It pays pretty high at 30%, but it has pretty good, it's just but it doesn't have to be one. NVDY is my definition of a great fund too, and it's number 3. So, I mean, I like FEPI a lot. There's FEPI. Here we have CLIP, SEPI, DIZZO, YBTC, MSFO. Anyway, we'll see how it does. I mean, LFGY is down here at 22nd. I mean, it's 61% payer, 2.9% above one moving average, 4% above another. I mean, and it moves 2.5% a day. So that's only a day or two. It's only a day above its moving averages. So it doesn't have the momentum that the other ones do. Even though it has the yield, it has pretty good yield. It doesn't have the momentum. So yeah, that's fine. All right. I think this is working much better. So I just need to have AI just make this ready every morning where we can look at it. And I was just trying to do this, but I'll also have them do LFGY and the ones we used to do. What was it? It was Chippy, LFGY. There's another one. And I'll just try to have this every morning, and where we can just at least look at the chart and see how cash is changing. If they're adding cash, taking away cash, whatever you got. And I'd like to have AI also show me the change from day to day. And so I'll program that some more tonight. But yeah, I think this is good content, and this will come back in the morning. So in the morning, we're going to have the Altiverse should be back, as well as the LFGY verse and the Chippy verse, and whatever the other one is. Is it Renty? I'm not that interested in Renty. But it's who knows. I'll do whatever you guys want. Okay, options. Let's futures or not futures, earnings. Google has earnings coming up next week. Well, never mind. I'm going to do an option show. I'll do an option. I'll put an option show on later. If you guys want to watch an earnings show, it'll be on in an hour or something. I don't know if I'll record it or it'll be a live stream, but I'm probably going to go out there and I'll do that in a while. But we'll look at some earnings stocks. And I was kind of thinking, and maybe doing this myself. I like Google. I like Google's options. And I think I make a lot of money on earnings in the run up to earnings. Sometimes I'll take the position off before earnings happens. I read last night that Google has earnings on the 23rd. So it might be a good time to put on some type of something to play the drift up into earnings. Might be a risk reversal, but it might not also. Anyway, I'll have content on that. We'll have separate content on that. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. If you guys don't have any questions, I'll let you go. I'm just making sure there's no questions. Blocks also benefits from ether movements too, so that makes a difference. Yeah. Seriously, does no one remember the fund? One of you guys showed me a fund the other day. I don't know if it was Calamos or Innovator. Somebody else has a fund where they're copying. They're copying LFGY. It has 15 stocks and they're doing covered calls on it. It was Simplify, or I can look. I'll look back through that. It's probably back in the ones that I need to review. I'll go figure it out and we'll talk about it next time. But anyway, all right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you like the new MaxFactor. I hope it helps more. And I will talk to you later. Have a great rest of your morning.